All right. Hello, Cody. How's it going? Good. All right. What are we doing tonight? Nice. Sweet. All right. Let's do that. Yeah, I've, I have used it. I don't know if I'm an expert yet, but I have used it. Go. Yeah, go for it. Um, nice. If you want, yeah, we could put all the future projects in there. That could be interesting. You can create it from here if you want. Keep it in. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just do that. All right. That's asking for a project. Yeah, I'll be quicker. All right. So, what is this first project? It doesn't hurt. Good. Yeah, so I think they have a guide for Next.js. They should have a guide somewhere. Subscription and auth. Yeah. Well, this is their starter project, I think. Yeah. Nah. But you can go on your laptop and you can create like a new repo, I guess. I can guide you through there. Because one thing I like to do is to use Supabase locally first instead of like using the full cloud version yet. So we can set that up easily if we have. Yeah, yeah. We can create like a local Supabase. You could, but the only app you have is one Next.js app, right? So it should be fine. Yeah, yeah. I like the source directory too. I don't know why, but yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, we will have to move it into another like repo. Well, you'll see. I'll explain. No. It's like, so this repo, because we're going to set up Supabase locally, what you want is you want a repository with your Next.js inside of a folder, and then we'll have another folder, Supabase, and that will have all the migrations and stuff for Supabase. Right? Yep. Right. Might might want to zoom in a little bit here on that terminal. Yes, I'm trusting you. Your screen share is still tiny on my end because the Discord one is not updated. No, but it's okay. Maybe a little glitch. It's all good. All right, yeah, we're rolling. Cool. Okay, so you have the folder, right? Okay. All right. Okay, so that's going to be your app, and then inside of that main folder, like TFM companion, you can initialize a package JSON. You can do like npm init. Yeah, that works. Cool. And then you can do a npm install -g Supabase. You can grab like that Supabase thing. Noise. So do you have access to Supabase now? If you type Supabase, you should. Yeah. Cool. So you can do Supabase login. It should like bring you into the flow to log in with Supabase. Yeah. Typical login flow. Go beans. So you can close that one. And then you can run Supabase in it. And that should like basically create all the boilerplate stuff that we need. If you want, I don't know if we're going to use Supabase edge functions, but if we were to, then yeah, you can. I think, yeah. You don't use IntelliJ, so you don't care. Okay, so if you, I've heard of Cursor, yeah. I've tried it a couple of times, but I wasn't seduced. Yeah, but maybe I should give it a shot again. Yeah, maybe. So now we have the Supabase folder, right? So inside of there, you can actually run like a bunch of stuff. You'll see once we start creating migrations for a database and stuff, you'll have a migrations folder. So there's a bunch of stuff that's happening in there. Yeah, that's the config for the server itself. So now, like in your terminal, if you run like Supabase start, do you have Docker running? You need Docker, but Okay, so if you do Supabase start, it should start like a fresh Supabase instance on your machine. And it's pretty cool. It comes up with a bunch of stuff. It's pretty neat. Now, let me try and see if we can find the guide with Next.js just to see what they recommend. Yeah, it takes a little while, but you can emulate pretty much everything. So it's going to emulate the database. It's going to emulate the storage. So you can also play around with the storage API of Supabase. I believe you can test your edge functions, but I don't use the edge functions on Supabase, so I don't know about that particular feature. And then you have the auth, obviously, that's available to you as well. So that's what we're probably going to do first here. So yeah, we can run that, and then you can connect it to your GitHub repo as well. So as we create migrations, when you push them to your repo, Supabase will just pick them up and run them onto your production database, which is kind of neat. Yeah, it's faster after like here. It's because you're downloading all the Docker images and stuff. But once you have them on your machine, it's pretty quick. But yeah, Supabase uses a lot of different services. It's good to know. We're almost there. It should give you the blurb with all the info. There you go. So this thing is ready, and the best part is, if you're working with someone else, like it gives you like JWT secrets or whatever. If you're working with other people on your team, those things are constant across the development environment. So you can leverage those things in your testing easily because other devs will have the same values. They don't have to update any environment or whatever. Um, so if you go to the studio URL, we should see Supabase, but locally now. This one, yeah. There you go. So that's your very own Supabase working locally. Isn't that great? Cool, cool, cool. So now we need to set it up with Next.js. So how's your Next.js app right now? Is it running? I realized that they actually have a starter with Supabase. Maybe we should have used that. No? Eh, it does. Yeah. I mean, they show you how it's created so we can replicate this, but, you know, create next app dash E. No, it's dash E with dash Supabase. With, like, WITH dash Supabase. Yeah. Yeah. Or you could just call it app. All right, let's see what they come up with. I have a feeling they just create the like one file with basically the create client call, but we'll see. Anything that can make it faster. All right. Ah, that's interesting. So, Oh, yeah, that's handy. They already put the middleware there. They look like it, yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So it's probably some basic form using some Shatsy and inputs or whatever. And then, yeah. So the second step, they say, so if you look at the .env example, well, we might need to create our own .env and just put the values in there. Yeah. So the project URL, because you're using local, you can actually use the one you had in your terminal. So do you know the output that you got earlier? You use the API URL, very first one. Yeah. And then the anon key is also provided for you. It's right there. Yeah. So we might actually be able to test this right away, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I usually keep an example as well, just for devs. Yeah. Yeah. Let's boot it up. Yeah, I keep both. I keep the dot local, and then I have the dot example with just like empty values, just to get an idea of what it's going to be. You know, I don't know why, but I tend to not to share my .env local. Um, I don't commit it for some reason. Probably using Vercel wrong, but whatever. So, yeah. Um, okay, so if you go to localhost, what do we get in there? How does it look like? It is, yeah. Sweet. All right, try to sign up. Let's just go straight up for it. Oh, you could do whatever you want. Yeah, it's not going to send the email. When you run Supabase locally, they have a thing called the inbox, um, where all the emails that are being sent will just go there. So it's not actually sending emails. Yeah. Okay, so go back to your terminal and look for a thing called in bucket URL. So that's going to be in the status that Supabase gave you. Yeah, there's like in bucket. And if you go to monitor, you should see something in there, or like recent mailboxes, maybe. I don't know. Depends. No? Oh, so maybe it did send an email. Interesting. Yup mail. That's interesting. Disposable email address. Eh. Maybe not. Okay, well, go into your Supabase, like the studio. Yeah, if you go into auth, you should see if it signed you up or not. Yeah, so it did sign you up. It just didn't send the email for some reason. Yeah, so it should be there. But typically it goes into the in bucket thingy. It doesn't send. So I'm surprised this guy didn't receive it yet. Can you refresh again? Maybe. Well, yeah. Typically it goes in there. Maybe there's some config we need to do on locally to just make it happen. I don't know. But if you try to sign in, what happened? You're already signed in, yeah. So I think the email verification might not be activated by default locally. So I think we should be fine. Yeah. So yeah, this account should work. Yeah, there you go. No problem. So yeah, I guess we can take a look at how they kind of set that up, um, just to get a sense. Yep. Well, you can actually do it differently. You could, but you don't want to have that client open all the time. You kind of want to open it when you need it. So what I do typically is I do it in my server actions or like any kind of API calls. Basically, you just do it on demand there. It works fine. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, and if you don't have your users, you redirect. So yeah, that redirect, I would probably take care of that in the middleware of some kind. But yeah, whatever. If it works, it works. Oh, oh. Apparently your voice isn't going through to the stream. Yep. What kind of setting do you get in there? I can see it coming through here, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, it's not coming through the stream, but it's coming in my OBS. But it's coming in my OBS. But it's coming in my All right. We'll have to figure out why Cody's voice isn't working. I can see you coming through. I don't understand. We did, yeah. But try and go back to your settings just real quick. like on the stream together thingy. Yeah. Make sure it's sending to the source. Send audio to your camera with browser source. Do you have that? Okay. Yeah. And the mic is correct in there? Try it out. I mean, I can still hear you. I can still hear you. Yeah, I can. Yeah. I don't know. We need to ask Naz. No. You're still missing, Cody. You're still missing. Let me try something. I'll just refresh you. Did that work? I don't know. I don't know, but as far as my setup is concerned, I can see your voice coming through. So I don't know why it's not streaming there. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. Let me just monitor your voice real quick. Yeah, no, I can hear your voice.
Do you want to share your Discord screen and let's see if maybe I can just see a setting?
Yeah, I'm just testing another thing. I'm gonna try and put you on the same track as me. How
Oh,
about
okay.
now?
Hello.
Ha! There you go. So you just need to be on the same track as me.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it's working. Thank you, Nas. Thank you for helping us debug
All right, now we got to start from
this issue.
scratch.
Yeah, you missed the beginning. Um, okay, so we just installed a new Next.js app with Supabase. They actually have this thing. I don't know if you can pull up the command, maybe, Cody. Like it's on their website. Um,
Which command?
I'll send you the link so you can share on the website. Here, just pull up that website.
Yes. So we did this command right here. We did not add these tables though.
No, but the tables are just here for fun, I'm guessing. Maybe they built some kind of functionality in there.
All right. I'm still trying to figure out how they authenticated this route. So if I actually go to protected/reset password, I can't go there. Even though when you look at the code, it's not, there's nothing in it that's actually protected. I'm
Well, they
very
should be.
curious.
I mean, at the beginning of the page, the protected page, you have that check. It checks like, oh, await auth get user. If no user, redirect to sign in, right?
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying that this code here, even though we're going to an inner page, will get run?
No, for the reset password, it won't be. But the reset password is a public page.
No, it's not. It's a protected page. See?
It shouldn't be. I mean, go to auth. Open the auth folder. If they have a forgot password in there, maybe.
No, in here they have forgot password.
Okay, so forgot password is the public one. A reset password is not. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's interesting is.
So what does it
if
do
you're
here?
right, though, that means I could change this to just like Cody. And if I go to /protected/reset password, I'm still redirected to sign in.
Yeah. So if you open reset password.
So hold on here. Where's that terminal? Okay. So it's not that one. That is not the redirect. But then where is it?
Scroll down, maybe. No.
And it's
yeah, but maybe their
middleware.
yes, maybe their middleware is actually taking care of some stuff with like the update session thing. Maybe it's doing something we don't see.
Yeah, maybe.
What is in there if you open it? Okay, so you're setting the cookies and everything.
Create server client, takes in our keys, get all set all.
There you go. Protected route. See?
Protected routes starts with /protected and user error. Oh. So what's the purpose of the protected? It makes me wonder what the purpose of the one in the protected is.
But it's probably useless. I don't know.
Yeah. Are they just showing it just to show you could do it? Or are they doing it because they're actually fetching the user, and if there is
They're
no
probably
user, they
fetching the
want to
user.
protect their error? Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Let's just delete it. Let's see.
Well, there's that, but if you just turn off the if condition, it wouldn't work either, right?
Okay, so I'm just going to completely get rid of that, and we're going to go /protected.
Yeah, it's going to protect it too.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So it's the middleware. So they did put it in the middleware.
Yeah.
Here, it's just to avoid TypeScript errors here when if
you're probably right.
Guaranteed.
Let's see.
Because it probably returns some kind of like null.
Because user or null.
Yeah.
So then if you go in here and you put this, then you can guarantee that user is not null. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's TypeScript for the win. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love TypeScript. I do love TypeScript.
Yeah. So it's just for that. There you go. Okay. So we're rolling. You know, we are rolling. Much. It's pretty cool. So what is the next thing you wanted to do? So we're building this app. Can you explain a little bit like the app that you were trying to build?
Yeah. So the app we're building, it actually already exists. We can pull it up. It just doesn't exist at the scale that I'd like it to exist at. And it's by no means stylish. So it looks huge just because it's actually going to be, it's actually meant for mobile phones. So yeah, it's basically this guy. Like I said, you can add some friends. Shout out to all my friends that are currently shown here. You can click new game, and it will bring you to this kind of board here. So like I said, Terraform Mars is just a board game.
Okay.
You have to track and manage a lot of things, especially resources, how many resources you have. In the board game itself, they're actually gold, silver, and copper blocks, each a different value, and trying to do math and trying to spend these tokens is quite a pain. And at the end of every round, you have a production phase where you got to grab more resources. So it's just you're constantly spending and getting resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
So since we play this game every week, I just decided, let's build something to make this easier. So that's what I did.
Fair.
So like I said, you could just quickly come in here, kind of add some resources. And just to show you kind of what I mean here is if we actually turn up this production here to like 30, how it works is you have your Terraform rating here and you have your money production. So at the end of a production phase, you will get money equal to your Terraform rating plus your production.
Mm-hmm.
So if we click production here and we go to production, we'll see that it gives me my 50.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we can just spend those resources. We can do kind of, we can increase the amount of oceans. This is just a global thing that this is how you end the game, by increasing all of these to their max. And then there's just a couple settings. We've got just some certain things that do affect your resources. For example, like advanced alloys. If you actually go into the spend here, you can see that steel here is worth 2 and titanium is worth 3. But if you actually have advanced alloys, when you go in, it's actually 3 and 4 now. So certain things that adjusted. Helion Corp. It's a corporation that you can be.
Yeah.
You may not get it every time, but you might get it. So Helion can actually spend heat, which is one of the 6 resources, as currency. It can actually spend this as money. So if we just give ourselves a bunch of heat here, you'll see what I mean. So we can click spend. We can say use heat. It just gives us a little calculation of how much we're currently spending. But you can also spend it for, like I said, as money. So you can see like some of these projects that you can purchase. You can toggle the heat here, and we can reduce the cost of these things just by simply applying heat. And then in the back end, there's actually quite a bit of logic. This is where the fun could kind of lie, is certain things that you do affect the global, right? So for example, if I purchase a greenery here, it increases the oxygen. So if I just pay for this right now, you can see this oxygen became 1%.
Yep.
And if I increase the oceans, every time you increase one of these globals, it increases your Terraform rating. But there's also hidden things that the board won't show you, but the game board does. Like, for example, when oxygen hits 8%, it actually increases the temperature. And when temperature reaches 0 degrees, it actually increases the oceans. So there's these kind of in the background things happening that you have to track, which is where the fun comes. So this one is actually using Redis as its database, and it's using Pusher as its real-time communication. We don't have another person in here, but if we did, they would see all of my changes in real time. We even have a little log here that shows everything that's happened during the game and which generation it happened in. And then a couple of quick actions. So you can spend 8 heat to increase the temperature. You can also spend 8 plants to buy a greenery and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot to do here. I think to get started, I think we can do the simple just add a friend, which I'd like to make it a little better than this, but it's as simple as just typing their email in here and clicking add. They get a request and they accept it.
Cool. So let's do that.
Let's do it.
So how are the friends connected right now in your app? Like, is it because you said you're using Redis, I think.
Yes. Yes. So they're each player has their own, I guess, spot in Redis that has a list of who they're friends with. That's basically how it works.
Okay.
I didn't say it was fancy.
Fair enough. So I guess we'll need some kind of way to invite your friend, but also a way to keep track of your friends list, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, we can definitely
And
start building that.
it would be even cooler if we could track their online status.
I believe we can do that easily with Supabase, actually, with their presence feature. That could be interesting. Cool. Well, maybe we can start with the page, like just building the page. We know it's kind of using ChatCN, so maybe we can just keep using that, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we'll keep that simple.
So we already have the input component because it's used here, so we can probably just leverage that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's do
So
that.
we're probably going to want to sign in. and we'll just continue to use that Cody at Yopmail for now. And then one day I'll forget the password and then it won't matter anymore. All right, so we're in our protected. We don't really want to have the route called protected though, do we? This is where they get quite interesting. So they've got their auth pages, which are all at the root. And then they've got their auth, and then they've got protected. I don't know. Do you want to keep it like this? It seems weird having a route just called protected.
We don't have to keep that. Like, as long as we can. I think the part of the middleware that kind of matches the thing is in the utils folder. So maybe we can just keep that structure to go, and you restrict the path. So you see here at the bottom of the file, in this file, you have like this protected routes thing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that you can do is just add the routes in here, right? Like, you just don't worry about it and just adding the routes. Or you can create another path that you know is going to be protected. But it could become annoying, to have that prefix or whatever. Typically, what I do usually in my apps is the opposite. Is like every other page has a specific path that I allow being public, and everything else is protected by default. Usually, that's how I kind of go about it.
That's usually how I do it as well.
Yeah,
I
so we
prefer that
could
way.
modify it that way and make sure it works that way.
Yeah, because I also prefer my landing page to just be /, right? I would just like it to be this.
Yeah, I mean your app doesn't have a website, right? So if you try to access /, it would just go straight to login.
My app actually does have it. Yes,
You have a public page.
So see, it goes to /login, and then I do not
Okay.
have a public page. No.
Yeah, there
I
you
do
go.
not.
So you can protect all of it by default, and then instead of, protecting a route, you just not protect two of them. You just say like, hey, work on every route except those two.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So we want to do.
So you have an auth thing that you can use already. Like the auth pages, instead of being auth pages, it could just be auth. I don't know why it was separated, but it could just be inside of the auth folder, which would be prefixed.
Yeah. You know what? Let's not waste our time. Let's keep it as
Everything
protected
else.
for now. Why
Okay.
not?
And everything else, you just keep it open here.
Yeah, so let's just keep this as our nice little protected page. And we'll just delete all this.
What do you think, Nazanin? What would you do?
Yeah.
Let us know.
What would you do?
You're our first viewer, by the way. Thank you very much. It's awesome. Okay. So yeah.
So our
just build the file.
homepage, I'm kind of wondering, like, again, this is supposed to be a mobile. You use this on your phone. You wouldn't really pull out your computer to play this because
Yeah.
the idea is to save space on your table, right? So I mean, if you're busting out your computer, that's cool, but it's not really meant for it. So I'm thinking we start off by just automatically going into a mobile view for our page right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we want to navigate the landing page? So the only thing you really need to be able to do is create a game, continue a game that's already been played in case you close it by accident, etc. Or maybe you had something unexpected happen and you want to change, you want to play later, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does protected mean here? Correct. Yes, they would have to be logged in to be able to see this. So you only have to be able to see who's online, see if they have a game going that's available to join,
Mm-hmm.
and join any of your games. You probably want to be able to manage your games too, but not on the homepage. I'm thinking the homepage is probably just a list of your friends and the ability to create a game. Simple enough. And obviously you want the little top bar. Should we just start with that?
Yeah. I would replicate just the page you currently have, basically. Yeah. Well, that's not complicated. Just
All
do the
right.
same page.
Well, I mean, you want to replicate it exactly? That seems kind of boring.
We'll change it as we go.
Oh, let's call this the TFM companion. We should probably put that in H1. All right. And we will eventually have to have our user. So I think we already have our user up here. So we'll just say user.email. Ooh, I guess I don't have a name, do I?
You can. There's actually a thing you can fill in, but you have to build it in your registration
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Right. Oh, for the sake of this, let's just keep it simple. All right. So we should be able to go to /protected. All right. And it looks like we have a layout wrapping us. It must be our root layout. Look at that. We do have a root layout. I don't think we need it.
Yeah.
Theme switcher. There's a theme
Yeah.
switcher at the bottom here.
It's probably some kind of weird like
Oh,
dashboard.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it could be nice for your app. If it's already there, you could keep it.
Yeah. The only thing though is like I'm going to put this all back just so we can see it, but do we really want every single page to have this? I guess except for because when you're actually in the game, you don't want a footer, you don't want a header, but I guess we could just create that. Oh, we can't create that outside of the root layout.
Why not?
The root layout wraps everything.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm very confused on how this is working, actually. If I log out... Oh no, I just got rid of everything. Let's bring that all back for a second. Let's just cut this and bring this back. Okay. Oops. I did not mean to do that. What did I just do?
Where did you go? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'm just going to assume I can't see this because it's full. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
so we do see it there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't want to see that at all times.
No.
Okay.
Cool.
So we are going to have to make some changes to this code, which we always knew we were going to. Let's go into our root layout and get rid of pretty much all of this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We can put that theme switcher somewhere else for sure, though. We'll have to keep that in the back of our minds that it exists.
Yeah.
All right. So now if we take a look, there we go. Okay, so if we go Cody at Upmail. All right. So there we go. Now we don't have our header and footer, so we can build our stuff. Perfect. Cool. Perfect. Let's do it. So, all right, now we should be able to see. All right, perfect. And we're not going to go super crazy here. Wait, what is pulling everything in? Don't tell me they got this wrapped. Flex column, gap, padding 5.
You have a max W5 XL, which is limiting the...
Yep, we have that, but we also have item center.
That too. And you have a massive gap too.
You know what? 20. We don't need any of this. What's this? Min height screen, flex call item center. We don't need that. We don't even need this.
No.
We don't need our main to be flex. There we go.
Yeah, better.
All right. Look at that. Just deleting things as we go. Who cares? Just delete it all.
That's the way to go. The more you delete
Get
code, the
rid of
better.
all of it. All right. Oh, and you know what I just realized we don't have? We don't have all of our beautiful configurations in here, which I'd like to get. What is that called? Tailwind ESLint. Tailwind.
Oh, the prettier plugin?
Yeah, is that what it is? Tailwind
Yeah.
Prettier extension.
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah, that's what we want.
You just pull it in there.
Yeah. Apparently, Prettier was set as a dependency instead of a dev dependency. Interesting. All right. And we will grab.
There was a whole debate on Twitter, or on X, I guess. We call it X now. This week about like whether or not dependency going into dev or dependencies actually mattered.
Yeah,
Whole debate.
I mean, I guess it would depend on how your project is built, wouldn't it?
I think it matters for like npm libraries because you're going to be publishing this on npm, so you don't want people to pull unnecessary dependencies or whatever. But I think for an app that you're building, I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter that much. But typically, the way I go about it, I don't know if it's the right way or not, but the way I go about it is if I have to import a dependency directly in my code, like import Tailwind or whatever, then I put it as a dependency. And
Yeah.
if I don't have to import it anyway, like that, dev. I'm just not worrying.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. I think that worked. Well, no, the second I save this. It did not. Did not like that. Plugins, Prettier. Wait, add to your. Oh, whoops, my bad. That would make more sense. I put it in the wrong spot. We wanted it in our Prettier config, which we don't have.
Nope.
Interesting, but we had Prettier. Okay.
Where is Prettier? I don't see it anywhere.
You know, I just realized we called this app, and then we have an app folder inside our app.
It's okay. Inception. It's okay.
All right, we'll do a new file, I guess.
Yeah, just put a basic Prettier config.
RC. Oops. Oh, apparently I had already. Okay, that makes it easier. There. All right. Probably should have added Prettier then, but we'll see. Did it work? Did it work? No.
Try to add a class, because sometimes you gotta make a modification for Prettier to actually kick in.
Ah, it was already correct.
Yeah.
All right. All right, we're in. Okay. So
Noise.
where are we? That's not the right one. There we are. All right. Look at that. Okay, we got our little header. We got our person who's signed in.
Sweet.
So let's get.
So what's your other page? Like, yeah, I think you have an input where you type like an email.
Yes, that is exactly what it is. And then it sends an email to your other signed in person. So I guess we're going to need to have another signed in person. But we'll get there.
Do they have to be signed in now? What if you invite somebody that's not on the app? You know, you want them to have like an invite or something.
Oh, I never made it that far. But yes, we could do that. You want to send them an email to sign up?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Just send them an email, and then they have an invite link or something. And then as soon as they join, they can join your list directly.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, in order to get started, then we'll need to actually create that little form. So actually, what I am curious about is I saw that we get an actions folder. I swear I saw that somewhere. Here it is. We got our sign up actions and all that. So we've got some form data. Forgot password. All right. I assume we're going to want to do a friend action, but I kind of want to see how they did their form. Oh, they just straight up created a form.
Yep.
All right. Kept the inputs. All right. And then form action equals pending text. Oh, interesting. We have a submit button here. From components, submit button. Components, submit button.
Yeah.
Pending text. Pending. Oh, really cool.
Use form
Okay, so
status.
we're using the use form status hook. All right.
That's fairly new in Next.js, right?
This is it's very new.
Yeah.
I think there actually is going to be a new one in Next 15.
They use form or
I think
something.
it's use. Oh, what is that? Use form action status? Because it comes with more than just the pending. It comes with the state or something like that of the action.
Maybe.
Ah, well, but let's try this out. All right. I guess we'll go super simple then, and we'll just create a normal form like everything else.
Yep. Let's do that.
Seems easy enough. All right.
Especially
And
here, we just need one input.
since we're winging it all, I also noticed that form action was actually in the button. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
But it was actually in the button and not the form, which I thought was interesting as well. Okay. All right, so we're just going to delete this guy. And we're going to put ourselves a input. And
Yep.
type will be email. And placeholder, sure, why not? Email at
Email at example.com.
someone at example.com. You know what? We got our one follower here, so let's do.
Let's make it Nazanin. There you go.
There we go.
Nazanin at example.com.
All right, and then we want our submit button. Yep. I'm not sure why they did autocorrect like that. And it seems like we had that. What was it? Pending text. We'll say adding, and we'll say our form action is going to equal add friend. Let's do that. And we'll say add is our button. All right. All right. And then this actually has to be use client. Although this is a page. Okay. I think they did this one as client. Oh, they didn't.
Nope.
Oh, I am incorrect then. My bad. We actually don't want it to be client.
So it's just a submit button, I guess.
Actions. Yeah, that one must be the client component.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that. Oh, actually, component tutorial fetch data steps. I'm just gonna delete that right now. Tutorial. We'll delete these as we go, just so we know we're not using them. Okay. Perfect. And we don't need that info. We also don't need... Oh, yeah, we do need that. Okay. All right, so in our actions, we're going to have to do an export const add friend. All right. And it looks like form data. I also noticed they're not actually doing any sort of validation. We don't need to do it right now, but definitely something we might want to add.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. But I mean, we can pull something simple, like a little Zod schema or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so it looks like we just do a quick little form data here. Oh, I should probably have checked what they did. Look at that. If no
Easy enough.
email, return encoded redirect error/protected email is required. So they are doing some sort of validation. At least looks like Copilot at least wanted us to. Error, await Supabase from friends, insert email. Okay, so I guess this is where we have to figure out our table. So it looks like Supabase is saying it wants to pull from friends and it wants to insert the email.
Yeah, I mean, we could create a friends table, and then what kind of columns would it have? It would have like a user ID column, so you know like which friend are you friend with, you know.
Yep.
And then it would have another user ID, which is your friend that just joined. But then I think what we should have is also an invite table, because as long as your friend hasn't joined, we don't have a user for them. So
Right. Okay.
so
So in
maybe an
this,
invites table with some kind of a code that we generate, you know, and then it has like an expiration date of some kind, so the invite is not open forever, you know. And then when they land on that page, we ask them to sign up, and then immediately after sign up, we just add them as a friend to this person because we accept the invite, you know,
right.
something like that.
All right. Okay, so in that case, if we're going to add friend, I guess the first step is actually to check if they exist. If they already exist, we can add them. If they don't, then we're going to do the email.
Correct.
Okay. And we should probably do that all within the same action. Okay. So we don't actually have a friends table. Does
We don't have a
Supabase
friends table.
is
But
this something we need to create?
yeah, you can create it right now, actually.
Okay.
So you go into the second icon over there on the left. It just says like table editor, and
Yep.
here you can add a
And
new
it is
table.
part of my local editor
It,
that I'd
it
like.
is on your local, yeah. So the way you work with the local is like you would use the studio to create your tables and your RLS and all that stuff. And
Okay.
then once you're satisfied with this for your feature, you just create a migration using the Supabase CLI. And that way, that migration is in your repo. So when you push to your GitHub, it will deploy that to production. Right. So here we can
Perfect.
just create the tables we need and play around with them, you know, until we're satisfied that it works. You know. There you go. So just create a new table. Yeah.
All right.
Go for it.
And we'll call it friends. I'm keeping
Friends,
everything lowercase. I don't know about you.
friends list. Yeah, same.
You want to call it friends list?
Whatever you want. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I
Friends
like
is good.
friends.
Okay.
Okay.
So enable RLS. We're gonna go through that real quick, and then enable real time as well. This way, on your front end, you don't have to worry much. You can like kind of subscribe to it and get the updates. You know, this way you don't
Mhm.
have to refresh the page. And then for the columns, just create whatever like the columns you want, right? So created at is usually a default that they give you. The ID Supabase goes with an integer most of the time. Well, I think it's a big integer with an int 8.
Yes.
Typically, it's enough. If you want to go further, you can always use like a crazy UUID or whatever, but UUIDs are kind of a bitch to deal with sometimes.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep it simple.
And
But
so here we would need we would need another table to have our users too, because Supabase by default, you have the auth. I guess you could use the auth.users table. So yeah, can you close this sidebar for a sec?
this sidebar,
Yeah. Just close this clip.
just discard this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go to schema, you see how it says like schema public. It's not in the
If I
sidebar. It's like in the thing.
oh yep.
Yeah. Schema public, and then you have auth. So if you click on
Yep.
that, then you'll see you have an auth users table. And so when people sign up with Supabase, that's where the user goes, right?
Okay.
Basically. So that table is usually not shared at all publicly. So if you call the Supabase API, you don't have access to that table by default, right? This whole like schema is protected.
Okay.
So what you want to do usually is have your own users table in the public schema, and every time a user signs up, you just add the users there, right?
Okay.
That's typically the way to go. So we can start with that. Let's say create a table. It will have users, so you can name it users as well. It will
Yep.
have the ID. It will have the email. We don't have the name right now, so let's not worry about that column.
Do we
So
want real
just
time?
ID, email.
Probably
On
not
that
for this one,
one,
eh?
not necessarily. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and then yeah, you could just do ID, email, and that should be enough. However, the ID in this case will be a UUID. Or
Yes.
text. I believe they use text.
They use text. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably want text for email. So for the ID, you want text instead of UUID.
I think they use text generally, yeah.
Who's they?
Well, in the examples the Supabase is doing on YouTube or whatever,
Oh,
typically they use text, but I'm not
okay.
sure.
Okay. So we're creating a users table. It has ID, email. Is this where we would actually do the username or something if we wanted it?
Yeah, if you wanted a username, but again, the username is not going to be able to be used by the authentication. So the username is display only. You know, it's going to be
Yes.
pretty
Yes. But
irrelevant.
you, in theory, could be able to add somebody by their username.
Yeah, you could if you want to do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
I
just
was
add
more
the
thinking
email.
the name so that you have, your list of friends and you just add them instead of emails. But
Yeah, so you can put that column like ID into a UUID. It is a UUID behind
it
the
is a
scene.
UUID? Okay.
Yeah, just double check.
Okay.
So it is a UUID. I don't think we need the random generation because we'll create that technically.
Oh, we'll create it? Okay. So
Well,
now
it's
what?
created. It's created by Supabase when they create the user, right? Um, and yeah, if you want your username column, you can put it in, and we can keep it null for now.
No, we'll keep it simple.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
So you
keep it
keep it
simple.
that way, and
Okay.
then
Just click save.
let me think. Can you scroll down a little bit? Okay, so can you add a foreign key relation? There you go. And then select the auth users. There you go. And then you have to match the column. So public users ID is basically like the auth ID. But one thing we should do here, I know that's the users table, my bad. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's just a one-to-one match. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can do for the when the row is updated, you can ignore that. We'll throw an error for this. And then for the delete, you can just do a cascade. So if the user deletes their account, it just deletes it in your table, right?
Yeah.
So you can just do that. You can save that, and then save as well for the table, and then boom, you got a table. So
All right.
now the way we create the user when it's connected, right? We need some kind of trigger. So every time there's a new record in the auth user thing, you just create a new user as well on the other side, right?
Okay.
So we need some kind of trigger for that.
Is that also in here? See database
So
authentication
if you go in database, yeah, if you go to database and you go to
trigger.
triggers, you can find those things. Yeah. So you can
Okay.
create a new trigger from there. Yeah.
We're going to call this new user.
Sure. Anything you want.
Do
Yeah.
not use spaces or white space. We'll call this new user. All right.
Yeah. Don't think a dash would be a good idea either. So use an underscore if you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Okay. So the table is the auth users. You should be able to find it somewhere.
I'm only seeing analytics and public.
Oh, really? They don't make it to. We'll make it up here. We might have to create that trigger manually then.
Interesting. Yeah, I only see public users and analytics users. Yeah.
Yes, we'll have to create it manually. All right. Let me find because I've done it in the past. I just don't want to think about it right now.
Okay, so we'll discard that trigger. Oh, hold
Uh,
on. We're in the public schema. That could be our issue.
yeah, that would make sense.
Auth. So if we go to auth,
Yes.
currently viewing triggers from protected schema. The auth schema is managed by Supabase read only.
Yeah, you see,
So
that's what I mean. They kind of want you to create it yourself.
okay.
And I think we need a function as well. So you have a function like create user record, and then you create a trigger on that function.
Okay.
So in your schema public, name this function create user record or whatever you want.
Okay.
Okay, and then you keep it schema public. The return type should be a record, I believe, or trigger maybe. I don't remember. I don't remember what it returns. Actually, no, it's a trigger. Yeah.
Trigger.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you could do that, and then there's no argument for this function.
Okay.
You can start writing the definition. So you can start with begin and end, which is the case for most like Postgres functions.
Yep.
And then inside of there, you just basically run a query. So you like insert into public users, and then we have the ID and the email, right?
Is it public dot users?
Yeah,
like this?
Something like that.
Users.
You can also just put users. I believe it defaults to public because you're on the schema, right?
Right. So, yes. Okay. Insert into users.
ID. Yeah, and then you can put parentheses and you put the columns that you want to insert. So in this case, it would be ID, comma, email.
Yes, because they created that automatic. Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's values.
Values. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can use new.id.
New.id.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't know if they passed the email, but let me check just a sec. I need to look at the table. Auth user. Let's see what they have in there. Email. Yeah, they do have email. So you can also do new.email.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that would work. Okay, and then let me just check one more thing. So we have that going on. And then let's see. What else do I usually do in there? Yeah, just return new after that. So you put the semicolon at the end, at the very end, and just return new on the new line.
Like that?
Typically, I put return in caps.
Okay.
Like return, and then new in lowercase. Yeah. So just try that.
All right.
So you created
it. Function created.
Okay. Okay, so now we need the trigger.
Okay.
And so the trigger should be created on the auth, but we need to create it SQL, I guess, because you need to create it on the auth schema, right?
Oh, yes. Okay. So we'd have to go into SQL editor then.
Yes, we would have to.
Okay.
Do it raw. You could use the AI if you had your OpenAI key, but we don't have an OpenAI key set up with this yet.
I do not. So we're going to wing it.
Pretty much. Yeah, should be fine, right?
Right.
So we have our function. I think it's create trigger in Postgres. Yeah. So create trigger, you put the name of the trigger, and then it's when the trigger is. So maybe like after insert or something. And then on whatever table you're watching. And then you decide what you do for each of the row, I think, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So start with create trigger.
Create
trigger.
Trigger. Is it lowercase?
It doesn't matter at this point. You can keep everything lowercase if you want. It's fine.
Create trigger. Okay.
Yeah. So put the name of the trigger, like on auth, create user or whatever, or handle new user, whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically in Postgres, you would use a snake case. What?
Snake case.
Yeah, like all lowercase with underscores.
Okay. So create user.
Sure. Yeah, that would work.
Okay.
Okay. And then after insert.
After insert.
Yeah,
Oh, after. I see. I see what you're saying. After insert.
because that's
Oh man.
after we
Oh,
insert
this
the
is
new
also
user.
caps. Insert.
Yeah, doesn't have
Okay.
to be. But, yeah.
It's better to do it correct.
Okay, and then on, and this is where auth.user goes. So that's the table we're watching. So
Okay.
auth.users. And then it's for each row. So
For
each
each
row,
row.
execute procedure, and then you put the name of your function, and you will have to specify the schema in this time. So execute procedure.
Execute procedure. See, they're even saying I should do this lowercase. How dare they?
Yeah, Postgres queries are usually lowercase. This like the uppercase stuff is more like MySQL stuff.
Procedure.
And then public dot whatever the name of the function we created was. Um,
Public dot. Oh yeah, what did I create that as? Uh-oh.
so I think yeah, I don't remember the name of the function you used, but it's something like that.
All right, just in case we lose that. That was in database functions. Create user record.
Yeah,
Is
can
what
you
we
rename
call.
that quickly just to follow like Postgres kind of thing?
Sure. Can I actually just rename it? Edit function? Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Create user record.
there you go. Yeah, this way it kind of
Okay.
follows.
SQL editor. Oh, look at that. We actually didn't use it.
Haha,
Create you.
user
Oh, look at
record.
that. It even
There you
kept it.
go.
Sweet. Okay.
Okay, so run that. You can do command enter. Yeah. So there.
Line 6 after insert on create
Oh, you need to call.
trigger.
You need to call the function. Yeah. So at the very end, you need the parentheses. So you need to call that function. Yeah. Try that. There you go.
Success.
Okay. So if we go back to database and then triggers, we should see that trigger in the auth schema now.
Hey, look at that.
Okay. So if you go authentication and you create a new user, let's see if it creates your record. Just put like john@do.com or whatever.
Do I need to give him a password?
Sure. We're just gonna delete it. It's just a test.
Duplicate key value, user's P key.
User P key.
What?
So it creates a duplicate user. What the hell?
Let's try that again.
There's probably something off. But I'm trying to think what it could be. So the trigger is fine. It's the function.
Failed to create user duplicate
Key value.
value violates unique constraint user's P key. User's P key. That must be.
So it's your table. It's your table.
Yes, but it's probably auth, right? So
No,
they probably have.
it's not this one. It's yours.
You think it's mine?
Yeah, it's yours. It's when the trigger call. The trigger is called that we're trying to create a record into your table, your users table, but it's not matching.
So public.
So check your users table.
I just click on this guy? Yes, I do. I don't even remember us saying that it had to be unique.
It's probably because we have the foreign key, but the foreign key should work though.
We did it is primary. Yeah, we didn't even set it to unique.
Can you remove the foreign key? Just for fun.
Sure.
Yeah, you're good. As soon as you save, it's going to remove it.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then try it again.
Yeah.
That was authentication, right? Yeah. Nope. User's P key. We didn't create user's P key.
No, but user's P key is the primary key for the user's table. So we need to look at the trigger again. The function. My bad.
The function. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably
That was
something off with the
database
function.
functions edit.
Okay, so what do we have in there? ID, new ID, and then your email.
By the way, what is new?
New is the new record that has been created.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just giving me insight into the record that got injected, essentially.
Yes.
Or inserted, sorry.
Yeah. Can you close that window for a sec? I just want to check. Okay, you see the security thing? You have like security invoker.
Yes.
Typically, this should be security definer.
Okay. How do we change that?
I don't think the UI allows you to change it. So we'll need to delete that function and just recreate it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send you something on Discord real quick so you can like type it quicker.
Failed to drop because others depend on it. So we'll have to delete this that trigger.
Yeah.
Now the question though is, can I delete that trigger? So I have to manually delete that trigger.
Or you could just say drop trigger and the name of the trigger. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to keep this so we have it. Drop trigger create wait, we didn't call it user, so we called it create user. Okay. Oops, no, it was just called create user, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I do want to do it. Error. What? Do I have to call it as a function? No. What's wrong with this? Drop trigger create user.
Oh, but yeah. Was that the name of your trigger?
Yeah,
Can
I
you
just
put
did this.
dot before that? No. Oh,
Still no.
maybe it's not drop trigger.
It wouldn't be delete.
I know it is
Remove?
drop trigger. Oh, you need to say on. So you need to drop trigger name blah 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 on whatever table. You got to specify the table. So it would be drop trigger create user on
On
dot
off.
user. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that should work.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So now we can go back into
Yeah.
database functions and we can delete this function.
It should work. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So do a new one.
Yeah, I sent you the
Create
queries if you want.
user record. You sent me.
But it's the creation of this. Like, can you scroll down that panel and show the advanced settings? Because that's something in there that we need to kind of change. Security definer. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the one that we need.
Okay. So schema was still public. It still
Yeah.
returns a trigger. But basically we want to put in this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need you can just keep the begin and end thing. You don't need the rest.
Just this?
Yeah, and remove the dollar signs at the end.
Okay.
So that should do the trick.
All right. Confirm. Okay. And then we'll go...
Before you put the trigger, can you try and create a user right now?
Yeah, for sure.
Just to make sure it's not some other problem, you know.
Fair. Created.
Okay, cool. So it's not that.
Okay.
Okay.
And I so you gave me something, but isn't it exactly what I already have here? Oh, I just copied pasted that. Yeah, so I just lost it.
No, that's
All right.
not this one here. Now you need the trigger.
Okay. So create trigger on auth user created after insert on auth users for each row execute procedure public handle new user. Did I just call it handle new user? I don't think I did. I called it create user record. And yeah, we'll do the on auth user created. That's fine. Okay, so if we run, there we go. It's successful. We should be able to go to database
Typically,
auth
that's how it works.
use. Oh wait, no, my bad. Triggers. It doesn't. Oh, my
You
bad.
gotta switch it, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so it does exist. So now the question of create user, we'll do test at test.com. Create the user. Perfect. So that's successfully created. So then
go into your users table and you'll see the user being created.
All right.
So you got to go to the table editor.
Oh, I got to go to table editor. Okay.
Yeah. And then you click on users. And now you have your user. That's the one you just created.
That's the one I just created.
Yeah. You won't have the other ones because the trigger only runs when you create new users, right? So typically you create that trigger at the beginning.
Right. So I'm in authentication. So is this automatically the auth users table? Is that what this is then? Okay.
Yeah, it is. Right. So every time you have a new user registering now, it's going to also create it in your schema. But instead of having all the info about the user, like the auth.users table have, then you just have a subset. So this one can be public. It's okay. Like you just have the ID, you just have the user email.
Yep.
So that is okay to consume in your app, right? The other one you don't really want it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So in the case, like just so we can walk it back, in the case of if I wanted my user to sign up with a name, not like just we'll call it username actually, just because why not? You would sign them up for auth. How would they get? How would the trigger just carry through the username? How does the username get added to my public users table?
Well, it depends where you capture the username. But like I said, like what are you calling username? Is it the name, like the full name of a user? Like display name as we see on your screen right now?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking because if we're gonna have our page, right, we're gonna come here, we're gonna have our form that I can add, like, val at CodyVal.com, and I click go, and then once I add you as a friend, I want to see you in my list, but I don't want to just see your email. I want to see your username.
Yeah, so you would your registration form would have the extra name. Mm-hmm. And then when you make your request to Supabase to create the user, and then shortly after that, you would have some kind of server action or webhook or whatever that would also set the username. So the tricky part is when you want to set extra information on a user in Supabase, you got to create the user first, and then you got to call the update user function to update the name or their phone number or whatever else you want to store in there.
Right, but what if you wanted username to be unique and can't be undefined?
But it's
how would you create that record?
But you wouldn't, because it's not a username. Like I said, like Supabase Auth doesn't really handle username login. It's login via email.
I see
That's
what
it.
you're saying. Right.
Right. Okay. So if you want to implement a username, what you would need to do is you register your users, and then after the users have registered, you show them another form like pick your username or whatever, and then on the users table you would have a column to capture the username, and that column would be unique. This way, people couldn't choose a username that already exists, and you would just use it as an identifier in your app, but people would not be able to log in with it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not a credential, but it could still be something you use as for fun, right? Just like your username on GitHub, for example.
Right.
Even though it is a credential in that particular case, but here, yeah, you would just use it as an informational thing, but you could still do that. Yeah, you just add a username column to your users table.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's something we can do after. Sounds like we can do it after. Maybe we can add a profile page where you can go and put in a bunch of stuff. Oh, what's this? When did this start? Will there be only Next or also a separate backend?
Yeah, we started about an hour ago. We'll be on every Monday. About the same time. And yes, we'll probably cover some backend stuff at some point, for sure.
Yes, for sure. Is there something you're actually interested in?
It's okay. It's recorded. You can go back and watch it if you want. We mostly rumbled about Supabase so far, but we're giving it our best. So yeah, the username is a tricky thing, especially because, like, in the beginning, you would have to use the email as their username until they actually set a username. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it needs to be unique in your table, so it would have to stay like unique in there.
Okay.
So yeah, I would probably do that. But right now, just pretend you do with email, right? Like, email is
Right.
fine.
Really want to see a separate backend plus Next.js and Supabase. That's what I'm interested.
That's a good idea. We can take a look at that for sure.
Yeah. A
Cool,
separate
cool.
backend plus Next.js and Supabase. Yeah, we could definitely do something like that. Supabase Auth, I meant.
Auth. There's not
So
much
you want
backend involved on the auth.
Oh no, I think they're thinking about Auth. So the Next.js application that has Auth with Supabase, but it has a separate backend for all
I see.
for all its other needs.
Yeah. Well, you want to handle the auth with Supabase, and then Supabase will give you a JWT, so you can use that JWT with anything else, and you can always double check that if you use the. So Supabase has a service role key that you can use, so you can have this service role in your API, and then when you make a request to your API with a JWT, you can always call Supabase with that service role and say, "Hey, is this JWT legit?" And then Supabase will tell you if it is legit or not. And if it is, you can let it go through. Otherwise, you would not do it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we could probably set something like that up.
Yeah, if
This
we set up some
particular
API.
app that would be a little overkill for this particular app, but I'm sure there's things we'll do in the future that will definitely do that.
Yeah, if we have something bigger that has separate APIs. Yeah. But yeah, it's all JWT dense, mostly.
Yes, you are correct. How do I say that? Carnian Dune.
Nice.
I hope I got that right. You are correct. It is not good for complex backends. This particular application is just for a small board game, so having a separate backend would just be overkill for it.
Yeah.
But yes, 100%. I would not want to use Next.js for complex backends.
Yeah. I usually use something else, so the bigger apps, yeah. Like
Yeah,
Nest.js.
you really like your Nest.js, yeah.
I like Nest.js, yes.
You love Nest.js. There's no like. No one can pronounce my name perfectly. It's Quenya.
Nice.
Quenya? All good. Unless that's Quenya?
It is a very complex name indeed.
That is. I love Nest too. That's what I use as backend. there you go.
There you go. See, Cody, you
well,
gotta use
stick
Nest,
around.
man.
I'm sure at some point on Monday we will definitely create a Nest.js backend. It's gonna happen 100%.
It is
actually
working really well.
Our hackathon for next week. Are we using Nest for that?
We might. I mean, it's not super complex either, but we might use Nest for like a small API. I like to use it with Supabase with webhooks because you can have triggers on your tables, and you call like an external webhook. So
Yep.
instead of having that webhook being part of your Next.js app or whatever, you can just have like a dedicated webhook API, and you just call that. But
Okay.
yeah, it depends on your use case. You're right. Like if your app is not that big, don't worry about deploying multiple stuff.
Yep.
But if you like to split things out, sure, it works. And then bigger backends definitely take advantage of that for sure.
Oh, I'm sure Speakbox is going to be using Nest. So
Well, it already is. We have like 4 or 5 different APIs with Next.js.
yes.
Yeah.
What are you planning hackathon? Oh, it's the
Yeah.
Supabase hackathon that starts on the 13th.
13th or 14th. Can
I
you
think
pull
it's
up the page? I think they have a page for the hackathon.
They do have a page. Oh, this is not
You know?
Supabase.
What we want to build is like an app where you can enter your repository, we analyze your dependencies, and then basically we would check if there are breaking changes on those dependencies, and then maybe use a little bit of AI to kind of like summarize it. But it's just for fun, and the goal is to use Supabase and kind of play around with those tools.
Am I looking at the wrong one here?
It is probably the old.
Friday, September 13th.
There you go. Yeah, so it's going on for a week. So we're getting ready here. That's why we're coding this little thing today to try and get Cody up to speed with Supabase, because we can't start the hackathon before the 13th. But yeah, next week we'll definitely work on that. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and we will definitely build. I'm certain we will build something with the Nest.js backend, 100%.
It will happen, man. I'll convince you.
I mean, I'll do it. But Express, I don't know, man. Express is just good. I just like it. All right, but back to our things. We built our table.
Yes. So now we have our users, and now we have the friends table. And so the friends table need to have your user ID that is in the users table, right? It has to have that relationship now.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I was reading this message. Complex projects need separate backends, so I use Nest. Use open source solution as authentication with Nest server and Next front. Tell me when you do it. I'll be here for hours.
Yeah, maybe next week, probably. We'll have some authentication too. So,
do we need authentication for that idea? I thought that was just...
Well, yeah. Like people were going to have to log in with GitHub.
You're right, because they're going to subscribe. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, my bad. Yes.
So it will need that. Yeah, we'll need some auth. And we need a backend because the whole interaction with GitHub API, like you don't want to do that in Next.js.
100%. So there you go. Next Monday, we will be building a Nest.js backend with Supabase Auth and Next.js as our front. There you go.
Yes. Maybe we could do a monorepo for that one too. Yeah.
We should do a monorepo for that one.
Just for funsies.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try that. All right. So cool. We just need to create that. It's 8 p.m. Going into Pacific time because we're here in Vancouver, BC.
Yeah. 8 p.m. is ambitious. 8:30 is probably
most likely
to when I'll get it, but
fair enough.
I'll try. I'll try and be here at 8 p.m.
So somewhere around those lines. Yeah. So we need that friends table, man.
Okay, let's do it.
That. So table editor.
Table editor. Another table. Friends.
So this one we can give it an ID and keep it integer.
This one we want enable real time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So keep that one as an integer, and then you add a new column, user ID.
User ID.
This one will be a UUID.
Yep. And then we're going to want another column.
Friend ID, and it will be the same. It's like your user ID as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can I just type this in? Oh, I can't. Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it's a little...
That would have been cool. All right.
Here's a request.
We definitely don't want to generate random though.
No. We definitely don't want any of that. However, if you click on the little cog, can you click on the little cog?
Yes, I can.
It makes it nullable by default, and it cannot be nullable in this case because we do need both.
Yes, correct. Okay, so let's.
So we need to make sure that they are filled. Yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna have to add a foreign key.
And yeah, on both of those columns. Yeah.
Yes. So add
On
foreign
public
key
users.
relation. Okay,
So
so
you're good.
public users set columns. So we would want the user ID to match the UID or the ID. Sorry.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Same thing. I assume we'll want to cascade the delete.
Cascade the delete. Yeah. The update
Uh,
rarely happens because the user ID is not going to change.
yeah.
So
All right. So we can save this one, and then we'll have to do another foreign key. And same with it. Users. We'll do the friend ID, which will go to an ID of public user.
same
And
thing.
oops, I did not want to click that.
Documentation.
Cascade. And I think that's pretty much it.
It should be. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It seems pretty obvious.
Yeah, just a simple. What do they call these?
Simple.
There's a name for this type of table.
Pivot table.
Is that what they call it? Pivot
Yeah.
table?
Yeah. It is a pivot table.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Do we actually need to create it at?
It's helpful. You know,
All right.
doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, fair. All right, let's save this table. Okay.
Cool. And then you want your invite table. So your invite table is where you'd create like your
Right.
the invite. But there's two scenarios then, because you could either invite with an email or invite with your username that you're mentioning. You were mentioning you wanted a username.
Yeah, so like I said, we'll keep this simple. Let's just do email for now. We don't even have the ability for a username, so let's
Okay.
just keep it nice and simple.
So what we want is just invites, an ID, and then we could create a function that generates like a weird code. Have you used like something like hash IDs before or something like that?
No, actually, I have not.
Okay. Because there's a way to create. I have a project I can pull where I have a function. So Postgres has an extension for this hash ID, and basically how it works is it takes your integer, so your ID in this case, and
Okay.
it's gonna hash it into like a series of characters. So you can decide how many characters you want. You could do like 8 or whatever,
Mhm.
and it generates like a unique code. And then you can send that as an invite in an email. You say, hey, here's your code. And if you want to join this person, just go on the website and use this code, right?
And then we reverse that hash down to their ID or something.
When they enter the hash, we just look at the invite and we say, hey, who was the sender of that invite? And then add this new person that is joining as a friend to the sender of the invite, and then delete the invite.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's. Will that hash
It,
have to be an actual ID later? No, it will
it,
not.
yeah, I mean, it will be used as an index because we'll search the invite with
Yes,
that
that
hash,
makes sense.
right?
We'll
Yeah.
create a table insert with the ID of the person who did the invite. We'll generate a hash, and then when the
Yeah.
person actually goes to add it, we'll check that hash against who created that resource
Yes.
and then add them. And then I assume delete that from the invite list, of
Yes.
course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because one thing that can happen with email invites, like it's very tempting to say like, oh, if I enter your email, then you could just use your email, right? But what if you create your account with a different email of yours? Well, then you can't join that invitation, right? So that's why we use the code for that invite. Because if I share the code with you, then only you technically can accept this invite.
Correct. Okay. All right. So we'll have an ID, which is just for the table.
Yep.
We'll add a column, which I assume is going to be sender ID.
Sender ID, yeah, which would be a UUID
Yep.
because it's a user, an
Yep.
existing user.
We also want it to be not nullable. And then we'll add a column, and this will be our hash code, or do we want to call it something else?
You could call it hash code, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. And in this case, I guess that's just a text.
You could just do text. If you're like, storage conscious, you could do a varchar and try to limit the size of it. But I mean, storage is pretty
We'll
cheap
do
lately.
text.
So
Okay, so in this case, you said that it's this UUID is definitely not
Yeah,
ready.
you can delete
Generated.
that. So this one will be a function, but we don't have that function yet, so you can't really create that table yet.
Oh,
Because you need a function
okay.
first.
I can't even update the table later, hey?
You could, but it's just
I
easier to
see
do
what
it
you're saying.
before. Yeah.
Yep, I see what you're saying. Okay, so let's discard this. We have to go back into our database, into functions,
Yeah.
and create another function.
Yes.
All right, and we're going to call this generate invite hash.
Actually, can you go back one step and just look at the extensions?
Sure.
Yeah. You need to activate the extension PG hash IDs.
PG hash IDs. Can I search? Yes, I can. PG hash, PG underscore hash.
Underscore hash
There it
IDs. Yeah.
is.
Just activate this guy.
Okay. Enable extension. Done.
There you go.
Okay.
Because that will give you access to the function we'll use to generate the code.
Okay. I do still need to create a function.
Yes, you do
Okay.
need to create a function. And then, so we need to create a function that will generate the code and we'll pass the parameter to generate the code or whatever. And then what you need to do is put a trigger on the invitation table. So every time you create a record, you generate the associated code.
Okay.
Right? Oh, it might be a little blurry. I don't know. It's tricky.
Is it just me or is it text? Is it the text of like
Supabase, yeah. Maybe
it
you can
might
zoom
be
in a little bit.
can I zoom in on this?
Yeah, just do Command plus. Just zoom in.
Is that better?
So yeah, let me see what kind of function.
I hope that's better.
Yeah, we need to create a function first.
Okay.
Okay, so generate invitation code or whatever. Yeah, whatever.
D, but screen is not.
Yeah, that's probably the Twitch doing now. we're screen sharing on Twitch right now. It's a little.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. As we get going, we might get better technology.
Hopefully.
All right, so generate invite. Hopefully, it's somewhat legible though. I'm looking at the stream here, and it seems like I definitely see the blur.
Yeah. Is it
Generate
readable though?
invite hash. It looks readable. I'm looking at a tiny screen though, so I'm not 100% sure. Zoomed helped a lot. Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, generate invite hash.
Okay, so that's public. That returns the trigger most likely.
Okay. And you
And
said this
then
time we do need to add an argument.
no, there's still no argument. Not at all.
Okay.
And so begin. And what did you name your column for the hash?
I didn't, right? We didn't create it.
You didn't create it. Okay, so we can put whatever name. So let's do like new.code or .hash or whatever. Like let's say
New dot
new.hash.
hash.
Okay. Then you do colon. So space, colon equal.
Like this?
Yeah. It's a little
Interesting.
weird, I know. And then you do ID underscore encode, which is that is a function that is provided by PG hash.
Okay.
Right? And then we'll do new.id. So you use the ID of the record that is being created.
Okay.
And then a comma. Here you basically pass a salt. So it could be whatever you want. Usually I use a word like invitations or whatever. Like whatever you want. It could be something more complex. It has to be a string between like single quotes.
Between single quotes. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then comma, not here in the parentheses still. This will be the length of your code. So typically for an invitation, you want something kind of short. So maybe you could do like 8 or something. That will still give you like billions of possibilities, you know. So you're good. And then comma, and then you can specify which characters are allowed in this code. And I'll give you a string quickly on the back channel here on Discord that you can copy in there. The reason for that is because you don't want to have O, the letter O, and 0, because those could be confusing as a code.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so I just create a separate string that's like a little different, and it excludes some of those things. But you can just paste that
Also in single quotes?
Yeah, also in single quotes.
Okay.
You can just paste that in. Okay, then you put a semicolon after the parentheses, and then return new, as usual. Yeah, return new. Semicolon as well. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And look at that. Supabase even tells me.
Boom. Okay. So now we have that function, and now we need to call it as a trigger when you create an invitation.
So do I need to create a trigger or just a table?
So you create well, you need a table for the invitations. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll need that first.
We'll call it invites. Okay. We do want to enable real time for this, don't we? Because we'd want to show the user that they have invites.
Sure. I mean, you can always turn it on later, so it's not like, yeah. Okay.
And we called it hash.
Hash, and you can put a text column, like, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Or you could put varchar in 8 because we know it's going to be 8. You know.
Yes.
At this point.
How do you choose the length there?
It's probably in this little like
the gear
thing. No, not even. I don't know. Well, just put varchar.
Okay.
Or text, whatever. Yeah. Varchar was still limited to 255 by default. So I think it's good enough. Yeah.
Okay. And then is this a trigger or the function?
I mean, you could use the function in here. I like to use a trigger personally, but yeah. So leave it empty for now.
Okay.
It's not a primary key.
Yeah. No, I definitely did not want to click that.
And then we need the sender ID, which would be the user.
Yes.
So there's our sender ID.
And then UUID.
And then we might need an extra column, which is the email, so that if people are... No,
wait, so hash can be nullable then, right? Because we're going to generate it on a trigger?
No, it's still not nullable. And I'll show you, because the trigger will run before the insert. And this way, because it's not nullable, it still requires a hash.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But we can add the email because we might need to send that invitation to people. So the email would be nice. This way we can send it to them directly. And this one we could potentially make it nullable if you want. But I mean, I guess it's kind of required to. Yeah.
Okay.
This way we send the email. Because if a user later on, if we implement your username feature, if the user is looking for a username, we won't even send an invitation. They would just select an existing user. It will just create the relationship in the friends table.
Right.
So we don't even need that invitation for any other use case, but sending an email and literally like getting an invite out. So yeah.
Okay.
That seems pretty good. I would add a foreign key for that sender ID, just to make sure that user actually exists. And then I think we're good to go.
All right. And probably the same thing. Cascade.
Yeah.
All right. Save.
It's pretty repetitive at some point creating the tables, but it's kind of the same. Okay, so now we need that trigger, because if you try to create an invite right now, it's going to request a hash ID, like a hash. So we need to create that trigger now.
Okay.
So you can go to database triggers, the ordeal.
Database triggers.
Or you could do it in the SQL editor if you're feeling bold.
All right, so this would be create invite.
Invite hash or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The table will be the invitations table.
Oh, yep, my bad.
Your invites table. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then event is insert. Yep.
Yep.
This one is important. So before the event. So it will happen before it actually hits the database.
Okay.
Yeah. And then orientation. Can you click on that? I don't remember what it is in there. Yeah, just keep it default. It's fine.
Okay.
No, it's row actually. Yeah, just pick row because otherwise it won't trigger.
To
Yeah,
advise when the trigger fires once for each process row.
yeah, that would make
Okay.
more sense. And then choose the function that we just created. So I didn't know that Supabase allowed you to kind of like select a function like this. That's interesting.
Which I believe was this one that we created. Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Well,
Confirm.
yeah, confirm.
All right, done.
Oh, so now if you try to create a new invite and you
Yep.
just pass the email and a user ID, so you would still need a user ID, but you can pick it up. It's okay. You
Oh,
can pick it
yeah.
up in the thing.
I can pick it
No,
up where? Okay.
just create the row. Supabase will show you. So
So it
this,
does
leave it
gendered
empty,
automatically.
leave the hash empty, and then sender ID, you can pick the record. So if you click select record, you'll be able to pick like a user. And
Okay.
then email, you can put whatever you want. We don't have anything related to it right
Well,
now.
let's try John at Yopmail. All right.
Okay, so now we'll see if the extension and everything works. And yes, it does. So now you have your
Perfect.
little code, right?
Yep.
So you can send that with a specific URL. So in our app, we would have like a /invitation/code, and then if people visit that URL, we would automatically like add them as a friend, you know. But they would have to be authenticated before. So we would force them to
Mm-hmm.
create an account first, redirect them to that page again, and then once they hit that, they click accept or something.
Right. All right. Okay, so we're thinking we send this to a user, they get an email, they click the link, that link will bring them to a page that's a protected page.
Mhm.
If they're not obviously authenticated, we will send them to the login page or sign up. And I assume we would probably attach some sort of code so we know that we're going to have to track them back and automatically add.
Yeah, or you can have like a redirect to. So typically on a signed in URL, you can have like a redirect to. So if you ever redirect somebody to the login, you can always redirect them back to where they were trying to go after login. But
Yep.
it's like a query param, you know.
Yep. Okay. All right. So we've got our invite table, we've got our friends list. So I guess the next step
I think,
really
yeah.
is creating the form that actually
Yep. Now it's the
creates the
form.
thing. Now we could finally create the form. All right, so
Yeah.
add friend is our action. So let's go into actions,
Yeah.
and we've got our add friend here. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have our Supabase client. We've got our email. If there's no email, we're redirecting them back to /protected with the email required. So now we've got to do the bunch of checks, right? So the first one would be, are they currently friends? Right?
Yeah, but how do you check that with just an email?
You
Right?
would have to search that user.
Because here,
You have to check that the user doesn't already exist.
yeah, but provided they created their user account with that email, right? So the whole point of the invite system is for you to be able to send an email. So you just this field will just capture the email and send an invite to the person. It doesn't really matter if they have an account with that email or not, because if they do have an account, they'll log in with their account and accept the invite with that account. It's fine.
I'm more thinking I don't want to send the email at all if they're already friends.
Yeah, but for
Right?
that, we'll need to have that username thing that you're talking about, because right now we have no actual way to find them unless they used exactly the
Uh,
same email, but it's not guaranteed, right?
yeah, but that's the point, right? So if we have our friends list here, we've got our user ID and our friend ID, and we've got our users list.
Yeah.
I would just search my users list for the email. I would get that ID, and then I already have my user's ID, of course. And I would just confirm that I don't have a pair in that table. And if I don't, then we're good, and I can send the email, right?
Okay. Sure.
Because
We could do that.
otherwise, I could add you as a friend, you could accept it, we're now friends, and I could just keep hammering you with emails by continuously adding you as a friend.
Oh yeah, you just assume that that people won't spam the shit out of it.
Oh, I
But
mean,
sure, yeah, we could do that. We could do that. It just like it's just for the use case. Like I created an account with a different email, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, I'm just wondering, like, so let's say we don't put that logic in, and I add you as a friend, you click the link, you go through it, you sign in, we're friends, and
yeah.
then I add you again, and then you click the link
Well,
again.
in this case, you can add a status to the like you can add a column to your invitation, and whichever user accepts that invitation,
Yep.
you could just keep that pair in your invitation and say like this user accepted this invite. So now if you try to accept it again, you can't just like do that. But you will still be able to send emails as invite. Yeah. But we
Yeah.
could put some limiting so you can't like just send 100 emails a minute,
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of case.
Yeah, the already sent is
That
also a
also
thing.
brings if you already sent case too.
Yeah.
Hash should work
So
for
the
more than
hash
one.
is unique. So it would work for one invite. So only one
Yeah,
person can accept it. And then as soon as we accept it, we can either delete that record, but then
that's
you
what I
lose the
wanted to
hash,
do.
or you can keep that record and just mark this invitation as being accepted, and you put the user ID of the user that accepted that invite. This way,
I I was going under the assumption we were going to delete the record.
you could delete the record, but then you have
Yeah.
to put rate limiting on how many invites you can send an hour, so that people just don't spam the hell out of it. And then you can double check too. Like you can have a log in the future. I mean, it's getting way into the weeds here, but in the future, you can have a log of which email received an invite in the next 24 hours. And if you
Yep.
see that there are abuse of people trying to send like hundreds of invites to the same email, just block them.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I mean, you're thinking ahead already, like abuse management when we just need this basic
Yes.
feature.
Yes. All right. Okay, so we're going to take in that email.
Just take that
We'll
email,
send.
send that invite. Yeah, like
Yeah.
just basic.
So sending the email is going to be. Does Supabase do that for us, or do I have to set that up?
No. However, we can use a tool called Resend, which will allow us to send emails fairly easily. It's like a little
Okay.
API thing. So you
Yeah.
just create like an API route on your Next.js, and then you can just send that email. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we could use a cron to delete the old invites for
I
sure.
don't like that they just did this like auth with a callback route TS.
It's
Although,
pretty gross,
oh,
but it's for
I
the
see why
path.
they did
Yeah,
it. I see why they did it. Yeah.
it's for the path. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I'm gonna
probably
I'm
set
gonna
up that
create an
way.
API. So, would you said you created a route for sending emails? So we'll just
Yeah,
call this like
could be
invite
anything. Sure, invites and
invite user.
whatever.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
All
you could
right.
actually do your Supabase call in there, so you do everything all together. Like you said,
Oh,
you
like
you,
the
you create
action
the
of everything.
record. Yeah, you could create the record in there, and then as soon as you create the record in your DB, you send the email with resend.
Yes. So if we go that route, then we're kind of leaving server actions, right?
Yeah,
I
but you
think
could.
I'd rather do
I
it
mean,
in a server action.
you could do it in the server action too because it's still running just on the server. So you could
Yes.
send that
Yeah.
email with resend in there.
Yeah. Let's try that. Let's try that.
Yeah,
So let's delete this first. We can always add a route
yeah,
later if
you
we
could
need it.
totally do that.
So I did notice that all of their actions are in a single file, but we can change that later too.
Okay.
Okay, so it's called Resend. Is this
Resend,
a
yeah,
tool I need to sign up for,
yeah,
or is it a
yeah.
package?
But it has a free tier, um, which is pretty generous. Yeah,
All right, Resend. He always says it's free. Up to 3,000 emails per month. Okay, so we'll
it is
definitely have
free.
to do some rate limiting.
Yeah, well,
50,000 for $20. Interesting. All right.
yeah.
Email support, one domain, 1 day data retention, scheduled emails.
Yeah.
Delete right after. Regularly clear the old ones. Multi-region, single sign-on, dedicated. Okay.
I used to use Postmark for this one, or like SendGrid or whatever. But
Yeah,
I found their
SendGrid I've
integration
heard.
like just too clunky. Like it's old school, you know. Whereas Resend has a nice like DX, and so it's nice to just use this tool and set it up. It's
Okay.
easy.
All right.
You just drop it in.
Well, let's
Yeah.
see. Getting started. Look at this. They even have Next.js.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're right. Gmail. Oh, this is documentation.
Yeah. You don't have to create a template.
App router.
Like you could create a template and send like beautiful little HTML things with Resend. But Resend, you could also send like a text email. That's fine. Yeah. So
Right. Okay.
what we care about is this resend.emails.send. Like that's their
Yes,
function.
that's definitely what I was looking at. Yeah. So if we go into getting started, we should just be able to.
Oh yeah. Like resend is, I mean,
So
compared
create
to
an API
Postmark,
key, verify your domain.
it's
Wait,
pretty close. But
verify your domain.
yes, where typically when you send an emails, you need a domain because they don't want to pollute their own domain.
Right.
So you need your own
So
domain.
that means we have to deploy, right?
Not really. You can just validate your domain. Do you have a domain we can use?
I have my Crathwer one,
Yeah.
but I don't
It's not.
think I pay for an email domain in it. I don't actually know,
It's
to
you
be
don't
honest.
need to. You don't need to. It's going to be a bunch of MX records or something.
Oh, I think I always log in with GitHub for these sorts of tools. Let's do that.
Sure.
All right.
I mean,
Okay,
you
so we're
should be
in.
able to send emails to a test email. I don't think you have to validate a domain right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just looking at its prerequisite.
No.
So first, we also need to copy this so we can close this, install that. Okay.
While
And
you do
then
this, I'm just
we'll
gonna
need an
take
API
a
key.
quick breather here.
So
I'll be
let me
right
just
back.
pull this API key away from here.
Yeah.
Your API key name. You send email key. I don't know. Permission. Sending access. I would assume we just want sending access. All domains, and we'll say add. Copy. All right. And we will pull this guy. Whoops. Oh, come on. Are you seriously not going to let me pull that out? That's annoying. Okay. I'm just going to take this off the screen for a sec then. I'll throw that in there. Okay. All right. Key added. What did Val do? Val just dipped out for a second. Okay. And so that was one, verifying domain. The other, creating an email template. Start by creating an email template on components. Send email using React. If you're using app router, yes. File under API send route. Oh, so it doesn't. Yeah, let's try it. Use new resend. Okay. Oh, interesting. It wants email template. Huh. Okay. So it actually does need to be an API route. Okay. What did they say that one was?
All right, I'm back.
API send route. So it looks like it actually does need to be an API route for not a server action.
It doesn't have to be. It just has to be called on your server because you don't want to share that key with your front end.
Right.
But I think you should be fine with the server action.
Wait, you might want to check this out, by the way.
John Papa VS Code. Oh, yeah. Some extension.
VS Code Cloak. John Papa. Dev to blog.
I remember his old article about how to set up like npm so you don't have to use sudo. That was like the article I used the
Cloak
most.
hides / shows your secrets in environment files. Whoa. Oh, that's cool. I will look into this. Thank you. That's neat. Yeah, I just had to pull my screen off so I could do my secret, but that's actually really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
It hides it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an
Nice.
extension that just automatically hides all of your stuff. That's cool.
That could be handy. Yeah. I mean,
That's awesome.
you could probably rotate that key worst case scenario.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Can definitely rotate the key. Okay, so it looks like we only need this piece then. But
So yeah,
I noticed they have an email template too.
if you want
And I
to,
wouldn't
but
be able
you
to.
don't
I don't
have
think I
to. You don't have to. You can just
don't have
use it
to.
like instead of React, you use like text or HTML or whatever. You can
Okay.
just pass some like data, like raw text in there.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. All right, so in that case, then at the top here, we'll just create. We don't need this piece up there, but we'll just bring this right to the top. Okay. There we go. All right, so this, did I call it resend API key? Yes, I did actually. That's hilarious.
Might as well.
Yeah, I totally did. I wasn't even thinking about that, but
Yeah. So you just do that, and then you can just like call it.
okay. Redirect to protected, fail to add friend, if error. Okay, so we got to insert
Yes.
into invite, right?
Yeah. So from invites, insert email. And that's all
Right.
we need the sender ID as well. So you might need
Yes,
to
which would
fetch.
be me.
Yeah.
So I'd have to grab my user. Right? Like this?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, and then we do sender ID, user ID. This was not right. ID does not exist until
It might be.
we have to
Yeah.
confirm there's no user if no user.
Then exit early. Just return
Yeah.
false or something. Sure. Yeah, that would work. But I think it's a UID and not ID.
Oh, seriously?
Maybe.
Wait a minute. Are
I
you
don't know.
right?
Or no, try to avoid data and just. I know they do pass user data.
Oh no, it was me being dumb. I didn't actually what am I trying to say? I didn't actually pull it out. Where is that actions? I just renamed it
Oh,
to
you
user.
renamed it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. So this should then be user.id.
ID.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
Okay.
We're getting there.
We're getting there super slowly. Okay, so this should also return me the actual. Wait, it only returns me error?
Yeah.
No
So
way.
if you put dot select after it, so after your insert,
Okay.
you can just do dot select dot single. Well, you call it and then dot single after the dot select.
Dot.
So dot select with no parameters and then dot single. That will
Single.
return like a single record for that particular invite you just
Okay.
created.
So I'm going to get an error anymore then.
You could get an error, so you can keep it in there if you want, but you can also
Okay.
add data now. So you should have a data key, yeah, and that will have
Okay.
your.
That's going to, because I need the hash, right? I assume.
Yep.
So.
For the email, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll say if data, then we want to do a resend.
Yeah, so that is when you use a template of some kind. I don't recognize this at all. Data type invite.
Oh,
Maybe
resend.send does not exist. This that was just Copilot. That was
yeah.
just
I don't
Copilot.
think you can use templates like this. Yeah.
So from to, so we just want this.
Yes, but we'll need to use a different thing because we don't want to create a React component for that email.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we could in the future, but
Also, I'm missing.
Right now.
There we go.
Overkill.
All right. All right. Resend.emails.send, and then it's going to be from me, but we don't know what that actually is going to be yet.
You can put whatever you want right now.
From CodyVal.
Yeah.
All right.
You need to put an email though.
Yes.
So just put like no reply or no reply or something at whatever.
We're gonna have to get CodyVal. We're gonna have to buy it. I doubt it's even available. Okay, so 2 is actually going to be email.
It is.
Subject is going to be invite.
Yeah, like you have been invited by X or whatever.
Yeah. And then our, instead of React,
So you could add text.
see what else they got. Text.
Yeah. There you go. And now we'll need to make sure that that invite URL is like legit, you know?
Yes, we definitely don't have a next public site URL.
No,
but we should. And this will be slash, what do we want to have our route?
I would say slash invitation or invite slash whatever code. Yeah. So it would be data
hash.
Yeah, we can bring the TypeScript definitions later if you want.
Yeah.
From Supabase.
Block scope does not exist on create email response. Oh, whoops! It's coming from this data.
Yeah, so you got to rename that guy, like email data or whatever.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay. Now I kind of want to try that cloak out, but I don't have time to do that in real time. How easy is it to generate a new key? Create. Oh, it's super easy. Okay. Yeah, I will. I'm just going to remove the key at the end then. It's fine. Okay, so env.local. So yeah, we don't have it. So let's do next underscore public underscore. What did they call that?
Site URL.
Site URL.
Yeah.
So in this case, we'll just
do that for now. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Perfect. Seems easy enough. And do we actually care about any of this stuff yet? Do we want to do error handling? Let's see. If error, return, otherwise catch. So if there's an error, what are they doing with the data? They don't even do anything with the data. No. Oh, otherwise they return response.data.
Well, yeah, you could return that.
Yeah, but we don't care about that. So we can just say if error. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll need to return something out of that function, you know.
We return the redirect here.
But you can return you could return the invite, no?
Yes, I could.
Like the record in the DB?
So return resend data? Oh no, I see what you're saying. Return data.
Yeah.
Okay, so we still don't care about this.
Not really. Unless you want to double check if your email is being sent or whatever.
No. I don't even think we need this redirect. Okay. I think we're good.
Okay. Well, we need to try it, see if it goes through resend. Well, see if it creates a record already. That will be the first step.
Right? All right. Yeah, we never actually checked if this page even loads, so
yeah.
I'm going to go with it doesn't. Oh, we're not running the code anymore. Duh. I just realized the time. We're getting pretty close here.
Getting pretty close to the end for today. Yeah, we might have to continue
All
that
right.
next week. But
Look at this. Okay. So let's do, I don't know, somebody that doesn't exist. Let's do hello at Yopmail. I love Yopmail. Okay.
I didn't know about this tool yet.
Click add. All right. It looks like we came with an error. Email is required, which means it did not
It's
get
not
sent.
getting through. Oh, did you put it? Can you put a name on that input?
Yes.
Like name, email?
That would help. That would definitely help. Okay. Oh, it failed to add friend. All right.
Interesting.
We're getting closer. We should be able to see in here. Oh, no, we didn't. So failed to add friend was inside. I've got way too many things open now.
That's probably a server action.
We're going to go right to this action here and just close everything else. And we'll open this page. Okay, there we go. Okay, so failed to add friend.
So it's the error. You have an error in your invites here.
Yes.
Yes.
So from invites, insert.
So something is missing from that email. We have the email, we have the sender ID. Something is missing. But what is missing is you have RLS activated.
Yep.
But you're not using the server account of Supabase here. The RLS.
Oh.
If you go into your, well, I guess there's no browser here because you're using a server action, but if you somehow looked at the logs or displayed that error in the console, you would see there's a forbidden. So go back into Supabase right now, just for the sake of this example here that we're doing. And on that table, click Add RLS Policy.
On invites table?
Yeah.
Or friends table?
Invites.
Invites. Okay.
Because we're creating an invite. At the top right, you have like Add RLS Policy.
Yep.
Yeah, so do that, and then create a policy. Okay, and just put true right now. And select all.
Just put true. What do you mean true?
Name the policy. So
yep.
Can create an invite.
Oh, is this also underscore?
Whatever you want. It doesn't matter for this one.
Yeah. Oh no, you kept saying underscores.
Okay. Then you choose insert.
Okay.
Okay, and then with check, you just put true. It's just going to get us through for now. But then in the future, we'll just double check that the sender ID is the same as your user ID authenticated. So you can only create invite for yourself. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I see what you're saying.
But as of now, for the testing here, we can do that. So if you run that request again, now the invite should be creatable, I guess.
All right. Let's just reload just in case.
It's kind of weird that the error comes back as a query param. That's interesting.
It's because it's a server action.
Yeah.
Okay, so still an error.
Well, we don't know because you kept it. So.
No, I reloaded this, but I could just get rid of that. Yeah, you're right. Let's do QWERTY at Yopmail.
QWERTY at Yopmail. Let's see.
No, failed to add friend.
Failed to
so
add friend.
You know what we can do is we can just console log the error.
Yeah, just console log the error. It'll be quicker. There's a thing that I faced with Supabase sometimes where the error is not necessarily empty, but it's not there. So like sometimes you have a weird thing you have to check if the error is explicitly.
New row violates row level security policy for table invites.
There you go. So it refuses to create. So it's your RLS policy that's not going through.
Okay, but didn't we just fix that?
Yeah, but it depends how a client is authenticated. Because right now it's authenticated as this user. And we do have this like insert policy that should. Can you try disabling RLS altogether?
Okay.
And just try to run that again. We'll see if there's like any other issue. Because typically the using true should work, but
probably should have done this one. So let's do. We're going the opposite way now. Now let's just do po. Okay, still failed. This time looks like a different code.
Sender ID. So your user ID is not.
Oh, this makes sense. I'm logged in as a user that doesn't actually exist. We created all
Oh,
that
we never
stuff.
created that, dude. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
just create
Okay.
it real quick. You
Uh,
can do that from the auth. You just grab your user ID and the auth of Supabase.
oh, yes. Okay. So that's going to be table editor, right?
No, in the authentication.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And then at the very end, there's the user ID. So you can grab the user ID of yours, whichever
Okay,
it was,
done.
and then create your account.
And then go into database. No, not
Table
database.
editor.
Okay. It's going to take a while to
Users.
learn this damn thing. Okay. Users,
Create.
insert,
Yeah.
insert a row. ID would be this one.
Yeah. And
And
then email,
that
whatever.
would be Cody at
Yeah.
Yahmail.
I mean, I'd like to put that foreign key on that table at some point because it might be a little strange.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
But
so
then again,
now
this should not matter technically.
so
Oh yeah,
now
no,
can
it's
I add?
because you have yeah. I think it should work.
There we go. Oh, now it failed to send email. Hey,
That's
that's
okay.
better.
That's okay. Let's progress.
Hell yeah. Okay, let's get rid of that console log.
Yeah. So the failed to send email, I think it has to do with either the way you create your email, or it's because they do want us to verify some kind of email where we can send with.
Let's find out. All right. What? That's it, it auto did that one instead of error. My bad.
Nice.
I was like, wait, what the heck? All right, so 403
Yeah,
CodyVal.com
there you
domain
go.
is not verified. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Verify
they do
your
want us to
domains.
verify a domain.
Okay.
So that will be some homework for next week. We could probably do that. Verify that domain.
Yes. All right.
Oh,
Although next week is actually going to, good old QWERTY friend of mine did. Next week is going to be our hackathon. So we will come back to this, but
we
next
will
week
come
we'll
back to
do that
this
hackathon for sure.
because
So
we're running on what 3 hours now? Yeah, 3 hours.
yes.
It is a Monday night after all. So so yeah, how do you feel so far? I'm gonna swap to another screen here. So how do you feel about this Supabase stuff?
I'm liking it.
Yeah,
I can see there's definitely going to be a lot I got to catch up on, and there's definitely a lot about databases I just don't know. So
fair enough.
I'm glad you were here to guide me through that because
Through the Postgres.
I actually do remember Cascade. I
Yeah.
used it
Okay.
a long time ago, but I don't even remember the last time I actually built a database. Like,
I mean, as we're using Supabase, it's going to be a refresher because that's definitely like Supabase is Postgres, right? There's no
yeah,
crazy thing
exactly.
around it except maybe the auth and stuff. But
But I think the last time I remember creating a Postgres database from scratch would have been, I want to say 5 years ago.
it's been a while.
Like it's just most of the work I've done, databases they already existed, or I was doing the front end work. So
Fair
it's just
enough.
one of those things. And for my own projects, I never did anything that like really required a relational database. So I would use something like maybe Firebase or like just something simple, right? Like I didn't go for anything crazy. Like you saw
Yeah.
the app, the companion app.
Yeah.
That's Redis.
Redis.
That's not even a database.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a small app, so that kind of makes sense. Sometimes pulling up a whole like Postgres is like, yeah.
Yep. Yep. What do we hear? I don't feel comfortable with Supabase as a database. I'm not sure how manageable it is.
Well, like I mentioned, it's just Postgres at the end of the day. So you could use Supabase to kind of manage your database, and you don't even have to use the Supabase SDK. You could use Prisma on top of it and just like use it in your backend if you want.
True.
The only thing is, if you want to use the RLS, you do need to use Supabase or Auth or some kind of JWT that's like issued for Supabase. So if you wanted to use Clerk or whatever other authentication, you just
Right.
have to put the Supabase claims in there. But otherwise, if you don't plan on using that RLS and you have your own like RLS thing with your backend or whatever, I guess it would work. Yeah, you could use Supabase without making it user facing at all. Like your users could interact with your APIs, and then your APIs would be the one using Supabase if you want. Yeah, or Postgres
Okay.
directly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's very flexible actually. They just give you the ease of setting up a database and kind of using their SDK. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Triggers
Nazanin
and
says that.
functions, yeah, they're the core of Postgres. Like if you
Yeah.
leverage those correctly, it's really cool, and you can
Yeah.
avoid having too much like
And they're
logic
not,
in your
and
code.
and like you said, they're not Supabase.
They're Postgres, yeah,
They're Postgres. Like
yeah,
that's just like you could bring all of that stuff out and it would be
exactly.
fine.
There's nothing except the auth here that we did that was Supabase only. Most of
Hmm.
the thing was Postgres. Yeah. So yeah, Postgres definitely recommend looking at triggers, looking at functions, extensions as well. There's a lot of extensions that are very helpful, like this little hash ID extension we used. That's
Yep.
very helpful, right? Yeah, there's a bunch. They have extensions where you could do like geospatial coordinates and stuff. Like it's pretty intense. Yeah, Postgres does a lot of
All
things.
right. Well,
It's
as
pretty cool.
promised, I didn't look
But
at
yeah,
anything related to Supabase before this. So now that we've actually done it,
nice,
I will start reading about Supabase.
nice.
But I did want to get that experience of having you basically walk me through it from
Yeah.
scratch.
For sure. So
So
anybody looking for how to set up Next.js with Supabase and the authentication very quickly, the beginning was pretty quick. It's just a one-liner command from Next.js, so that's pretty neat. Yeah,
yeah. Also
very
note
neat.
though that Nazanin was watching pretty much the entire time, and my voice wasn't coming through for like
That
the
is true.
first
That is
40
true.
minutes. I think so.
Do we
You just
remember what happened so that we don't have the problem again next time?
you had to put my audio on the same
Same
track as
track.
yours.
Yes, same
Yes,
track.
yes. So
Correct. So I'll make sure of that
we'll
next
double
time.
check that next week
Yeah.
when we come online.
Well, it is our first stream after all. Can't happen without issues. Luckily for us, we had Nazanin telling us about it. Could have
Otherwise, we
been
would
an
have had that
entire
whole
stream.
time without
Yeah,
knowing.
it could have been like that. So that's
Uh,
nice. And the screen blurring,
and
yeah,
the screen
totally.
blur,
We'll we'll
yes. I'll
we'll
have
try
to
and
figure
figure out
that part
something.
out. I wonder what that is.
I don't know, but we have the screen sharing onto like Twitch Streamlabs, stream together, and that maybe
Yeah.
making it back to my computer and then streaming back again.
I wonder because like
So
I'm on fiber here, so my upload and download are really good. But it's obviously if Twitch only allows a certain amount, it doesn't really
I
matter.
don't know. Yeah, I might need to check with like the FPS or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Over time. Yeah, the screen share is not good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. Worst case, we'll get Cody set up with OBS, and you'll be the one
Oh, that's true.
streaming on
Yeah,
your
I
end.
could be the one that just does all the stream. Yeah, we
Like
could try that.
whoever's sharing his screen is like kind of doing it. But yeah, I would
Yeah.
have to send you all the assets and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's definitely. I mean, do you have to send them to me, or could you just put them on GitHub?
I could, but then I need to show you how to set it up in OBS.
Yes, yes.
It took me an entire week to set up all those like screens
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
because I learned how to do it on the spot. I was like, oh,
Yep.
um,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
I can't guarantee that our video will be better next week, but we will attempt a Nest.js backend with a Next.js front end with Supabase.
yeah,
But we can work on the video as we go and try and figure out what's going on there.
For sure, yeah. So we'll be streaming on Monday for sure, and then the other days we don't know because it's a hackathon. So some of the project might be offline, but the following Monday we can probably review whatever happened offline onto the stream. So if you want to learn more about Supabase, Nest.js maybe, and then Next.js, we can definitely watch us.
Yeah. And thanks for stopping by.
For sure. Any closing note, Cody?
None from me. How about you?
Yeah, I think we went good tonight. We got
Yeah, this was
our
great.
beginning of app. Yeah, ready for next week. All right, folks. Well, have a good night. Thanks for joining.